So I heard about this new Japanese chain bookstore, which is now in Beijing. Lisa told me about it. Lisa knows that I do like a good bookstore. So I wanted to come and have a look at this bookstore. Bookstores in China are always very cool looking, and reading and learning is really a core component of the culture in China. The one thing I have always been super impressed by in China is that not just how hard the people work, but how education is so valued and how many people in China are chasing that university level education, and also in the areas where education and the people are fully educated. It's in the places, in the areas, in the fields that will make a country move forward quite astronomically, as you've seen in China. And these are what I'm calling the STEM fields, we know as science, technology, engineering and maths. And that is a big thing in China, studying these skills.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour, take a cold shower.
What are some things about China that people don't understand, positive, just in the culture? What's some interesting things that you've learned about the Chinese?
Well, the sheer number of really smart, hardworking people in China is incredible. There are, I believe, if you say like how many smart, hardworking people are there in China, there's far more of them there than there are here. I think, in my opinion.
So that brain power that I just shared with you, that Elon Musk, that guy, was talking about, is the brain power that will set China apart, which is, I believe, why America and the West are trying desperately hard to hold China back. And it is quite embarrassing, to be honest. It's not a very good look for the West. And I just wish the West could learn and invest in people and in education like what I see and experience here in China. And I wish the people in the West had that same desire and wish and will and zest to learn like what I see here in China. But I just don't think the desire is there, and I don't think the investment is there. Because, to be honest, in the West, we have a whole lot of friggin' wars to pay for. And that's where our effort and money goes. And it's a joke, to be honest. We're the joke. You're the punchline. I'm the punchline. And it's not good. We should change it. Question is always how. Anyway, I found the bookstore. I'm going to share a bookstore with you. Tell you a wee bit more about why I love reading and education.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep them.
This is a really cool bookstore. It's a Japanese chain. Went on to the third floor and I was looking at a National Geographic sort of display of women in the National Geographic, which was pretty impressive. So I'll share that with you as I speak. But I always feel really good in a bookstore. It kind of relaxes me. It helps me deal with some of my anxieties. Even at some of my lowest moments in life, I've found that a bookstore was a place where I would go and lose myself, forget about my troubles, and enjoy the fruits of other people's experiences. I always really loved reading, and often I think I would call myself really actually a magpie reader, because often I would just be grabbing at anything and I would be trying hard to make it stick in my head, but most of the time stuff wouldn't stick in my head and I'd just fall out. And I was always in awe of these people who could rattle off quotes or passages from books, poetry, or even the people who could remember the song lyrics. I would struggle to make that stuff stick in my head. I'm sure maybe there's a reason for that. I think some of my teachers would call me maybe a little bit stupid back in the day, but others I think really loved working with me because I guess they saw something in me, like Mrs. McAllister, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Will, to name but a few. And if you're a teacher, someone who has the privilege to help others, young people, just remember how much influence you can have on their minds and help them be the best that they can be. Help them really challenge their thinking, because some teachers did that for me. Back in school, back in the day, I persevered, but I was never the best student. Too much nonsense in my head, my mum would say. Although at that time in Glasgow there was so much social unrest and teachers were on strike, so I'm never sure if it could have been different. But you can't change the past, so no problem dwelling on it, just learn from it. And also way back in the day when I was grabbing at stuff, trying to read, most likely just skimming through, not really taking anything in, I think I was probably just trying to catch up with my very smart brothers, two of them, and my two very smart sisters. In fact, there was more brothers and sisters, but that was the two I grew up with, and they were really super smart. And I think I was just trying to catch up with them and grabbing at anything, but nothing sticking in. Probably just taking shortcuts, to be honest. I think when I look back on my life now, that there was moments in time where I was reading a book or reading something or sharing something that I read, and quite often that unlocked conversations or opportunity for me. One example, and I'll tell you just quickly, and I was explaining this to my son actually, when I was about 21, I was working in Glasgow city centre, and I used to buy the Times newspaper, which is a big broadsheet, and I would be embarrassed about reading that for some reason. Wouldn't go into the staff canteen because it was just too big, seemed to be too posh, but I liked it. I was really curious. I found the written English in it quite interesting, and I was very, very curious to find out more than just about football and celebrities, which everyone else was reading. The Sun newspaper, the Daily Record, which are Scottish tabloids. I was reading the Times. Anyway, one day I was sitting in the back office area, hiding, and I was reading this big broadsheet, and a guy in a suit walked past, and he introduced himself to me, and I was talking away to him, and he was asking why I was reading the Times newspaper, and I was explaining I liked the English, it was easy to read, and I was curious and interested in some of the things in that. And bear in mind, I'm a rough-arsed Glaswegian from a housing scheme. Anyway, the guy in the suit disappeared, and I thought nothing of it. Then we got a kind of buzz on the radio about half an hour later to come down and meet the director, the new director for that company that I was working for. So down I went, walked out the door, onto the floor, and there was the guy in the suit and everybody else gathered around him, everyone looking very, very nervous. And the guy in the suit stepped forward and went, "Hey, Ian, good to see you again, how you doing?" And everybody was like, "What the?" So these are opportunities I've always found that when I've been reading books or learning or sharing stuff. They've just opened opportunity for me.
I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
So I think the moral of this video is to take time to read. Get your head out of social media. Read something. Even read something on your phone, for goodness sake. And if you find yourself losing concentration because you are reading on your phone, then trust me, we all do that. Set a timer. Go for, say, 10 minutes. Read something steady. And then just learn, because education is important, and it might just help you realise, like what I've realised, is that we're being walked towards some mad global conflict, and the lack of education and reading beyond the headlines is what works in their favour. So do yourself a favour, educate yourself, read, and see what's happening and push back. Anyway, this is me, Ian, in an amazing bookshop, saying to you, take care of yourself. Peace out. Catch you in the next video somewhere.
Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky